Simply Zoological here, and welcome back to the channel. But either way, thank you all for joining me for today's video, where we are back with our second episode of Prehistoric Kingdom versus Planet Zoo. So in this series, if you are new to the channel or haven't seen the first episode, which I will try to link somewhere around here as long as YouTube allows me to, we did the entrance in the first episode, and this series basically is I build the exact same thing in both Planet Zoo and Prehistoric Kingdom to compare the differences, see the similarities, and if anyone is deciding on which game they may want to get, if they can only get one or the other and they're deciding which one they want, this could be a good reference for them to use as to which game they may want to get. Basically, for today, we are building a flamingo habitat for the new American flamingos that we got, I think, a couple months back. And we are building for the Tour-Coelophysis, I believe that's how you pronounce it, in Prehistoric Kingdom. So here you can see I'm working on the exterior wall that we will be using for this building that we are now building the window for. This building there's an indoor and outdoor section basically. What we're working on now is the indoor viewing window that will view the exterior habitat. The interior will have a little learning center sort of space with an indoor backstage area for the animals as well. So back to this project and how it started. Since I got Prehistoric Kingdom, I wanted to do something that I hadn't seen a lot of creators do, and that is compare and contrast the two games because they are so similar. We have so many pieces in Prehistoric Kingdom that are the same, if not very similar, to pieces we have in Planet Zoo. The only thing and the only limitation that I found so far is that there is a limited number of pieces. So when I am going to look for a metal beam, we currently only have one metal beam in this game, Prehistoric Kingdom I mean, and to where in Planet Zoo we have probably 10 or so metal beams now that we can choose from. And so there are some limiting factors in Prehistoric Kingdom, but with the stretch tool, you can make any piece become anything, if that makes any sense. So for this window that I'm working on currently, you can see that I took the concrete pillars, I believe, that are in the modular wall tab, the very first tab, or the second tab technically, on the construction panel, and I changed the material to plaster, or the adobe wall that I used for the Prehistoric Kingdom wall version. But here you can see that we have now moved on back to Planet Zoo. Really quickly, I want to talk about the video format. I hope y'all like it. This is kind of what y'all voted on. I put out 2 polls asking for y'all's opinions on how y'all wanted the video layout to be, and it was 50-50 for both polls that I got, so I just took the option that I figured y'all would want, which seems to be going back and forth between the games and building part A in Planet Zoo, part B in Prehistoric Kingdom, part C Planet Zoo, and kind of going back and forth and mixing and matching the two builds into the same video. And then at the end, we will have a live tour where I will tour both habitats entirely. So as we're working on this backstage area for the flamingos, I want to say I am very happy with how this particular backstage came out. The Coelophysis, I'm not too happy with that one. I did feel a little bit rushed because, so today I'm currently recording this voiceover on technically Sunday morning, 12 a.m. Sunday morning is when I'm currently recording this. I took a nap, woke up, and decided I would get this recorded for it to be posted this evening. But I finished building this Saturday, and so I was a little bit rushed to get this build done. I didn't have a whole lot of inspiration for the Coelophysis indoor habitat, unlike the flamingo indoor habitat. Because the flamingos are bright animals, because they're the American flamingo, they're bright pinks and reds and orange tones. I was able to use bright colors because of the part of the world that this zoo is located in, which is the Caribbean, if you did not watch the first episode. In Prehistoric Kingdom, the Coelophysis is more of a sandy brown sort of color, and that zoo is located in the desert, as I'm sure you probably saw with the sandy colors and the more orange and yellow brown tones that we're using in that zoo for the walls and the textures and stuff like that. I am not completely finished with the Coelophysis habitat as I am recording this, but I need to get the video done and posted so that way y'all have something for this week. But every week, whenever we do these episodes, because I'm expecting these episodes, the PK vs. PZ series, to be about once a month. And so I'm expecting every time we have a new episode, at the beginning of the live tour, we will do a quick overview of changes and stuff that have been made to the zoo or to the previous habitat if I wasn't completely finished with it. Just to take a little bit of ease off me, because building in 2 games the exact same thing, yes, the second time it is easier, but with dinosaurs, there's not a lot of references that you can find. Because they're prehistoric animals, we don't truly know what habitat needs they would have wanted, or habitat requirements, safety measures, anything like that. Because they're dinosaurs and they are extinct animals and we have no way of studying them. And so, not live anyways, we can't study them live. We can study them now because of all the studies and research that we've done, but we don't truly know exactly what they would have needed or required in a habitat. But so again, the habitat's not fully done. The flamingo portion is 100% completed. I am totally happy with it. I do need to do just a tiny bit of detailing on the roof to add some like vents and stuff like that, just decor basically, and details that I need to add onto the roof and stuff like that. The Coelophysis side, however, the interior is complete currently, but not to my liking. So we are going to be redoing that off camera, and then I'll give you an update next episode. But back to the build. That was a very long, I wouldn't say tangent, but very long-winded way of saying that we're coming back to this, basically. I do really quickly want to apologize if I'm skipping around with this voiceover or anything. It's late, I'm tired, and I'm trying to get this done, so I didn't have the time to make a layout, basically, of bullet points that I want to talk about in the voiceover. So usually, if you don't know, I make a plan, basically, of certain things that I need to talk about and specifics and everything like that. I didn't do that this time because I am rushed on time, but so I am sorry if I'm skipping or jumping around in the voiceover or anything like that. But back to this build, this is the backstage or the indoor guest viewing area, which I consider the backstage for the flamingos. you saw a little while ago we did the pool. I do go in and do plaster on the bottom instead of concrete. And I changed the stairs to plaster instead of concrete as well. And I do adjust the tiling in the pool as well, which y'all will see in the live tour that we do at the end of this video. And here you can see we are now in the Coelophysis in Prehistoric Kingdom. We are working on a flower box or a planter box. For the window that you see to the right is the Coelophysis indoor habitat. The window to the left will be a viewing gallery for episode 3. So I already have plans for episode 3 that won't be coming out until next month. And so give me some time, and and I might share some screenshots and stuff of like update progress and stuff like that. But to be honest, I haven't had a whole lot of inspiration to build in either game really, and that's kind of why content has been, maybe, I won't say slower, but it hasn't been as detailed or as extravagant as I would typically want it to be. But anyways, I'm starting to try and get back into my rhythm of building in the games and everything like that. And getting back into building in Prehistoric Kingdom is a bit of a challenge, to be honest, because we have the scaling tool and we have so few pieces. It's hard to go from Planet Zoo with a million different pieces into Prehistoric Kingdom, where we have maybe 500-ish pieces to build with anyways, and it's very hard to find specific things because, again, I am one of those people who I look at something for what it is, not as what it could be. I'm trying to become the person as to what it could be instead of what it is. I have gotten better about it, but I'm still not great with it. But side note from that, we are now working on the fencing for the flamingo habitat. And for this, it's just plaster on the bottom, metal fencing for the base to attach the glass to the plaster, and bamboo around it. And then terraforming and everything we are doing in Prehistoric Kingdom, because as I've said in previous videos, I find terraforming in Prehistoric Kingdom much easier and much less stressful for me compared to terraforming in Planet Zoo. And I'm not sure why that is, but that's just what I've come to realize and I've come to accept. And I'm trying to get better at terraforming in Planet Zoo, which you will see that a little bit in, not next week, though, I think 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, because next week we will have our Dev Diary overview, or we should. And then the week after should be back in Prehistoric Kingdom. And then the week after that, we should be back in Planet Zoo. So I'm trying to kind of stick to a pattern so y'all can kind of expect what to get from me and when. Because I would like to do the Dev Diary overviews the first week of the month. Either the day that they come out or the day after, or sometime in the first week that they come out, which is usually the first week of the month. And then either Planet Zoo or Prehistoric Kingdom. But now that we have this new series, I try and go back and forth, basically. Here you can see we are now working on a nesting island for the flamingos. The dirt mound to the right of what we're looking at currently does get thrown away and doesn't stay. So all that stays is this big dirt mound, which I really enjoy. I think it definitely added what this habitat needed, or this water area needed, because the flamingos are water birds. I didn't want them to swim in the water. I wanted them to more or less wade. And even this water is a little too deep for what I really want, but I'm okay with it. Here, we are now working on just kind of overall detailing of the habitat and stuff like that. We're coming to the end. I think the next clip should be the foliage, and then we will be on to the live tours. But I wanted a waterfall in this habitat on the right side. This habitat has gone through probably 3 or 4 different iterations by now, and the waterfall is the one thing that has stayed true to this build entirely. And I wanted to make sure that it continued to be a part of this build. So I added this small little waterfall to make it seem like maybe the water was cycled through and pushed up through pipes and stuff and out of that vent that you see right there. I do need to go back and see if that vent is recolorable, and if so, recolor it to more of a rocky color to make the rocks, or to make it not stand out so much. And then here you can see we've added some stairs with the rocks, and I do actually go in and add the faux rock stairs themselves to make this actually usable. And we copy and paste another one over to the right of where we're at now, back behind the forage enrichment item, and they have 2 different rock mounds that they can run around and stuff like that. And I add bedding and herb scent markers and stuff like that, so that way they do actually go up there every now and then. Not often, but they do every now and then go up there. And hopefully in the live tour we can see a couple of them go up there. At the time that I'm recording this voiceover, I still have not recorded the live tour, so I need to, as soon as I get done with this, I am going to go record both of those and then get the video finished and scheduled and everything. But you can see now we are currently working on the foliage for the Coelophysis habitat, and we just very quickly place different foliage: desert, scrubland, maybe scrubland. I know desert and arid, I think. The 2 grassland, desert and grassland foliage is what we place for sure. Maybe some scrubland. I think maybe a scrubland tree or something like that. I don't exactly know. But anyways, I'm going to stop this recording here. We are going to go over to the live tour in just a second, and I hope y'all enjoyed this speed build. If you did, please make sure to let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you would like to change, if anything, and let me know how you enjoyed this build. But it is now time for the live tour, so let's go over for that. Okie dokie. So we are now in the live tour. If you could not tell, we are starting in Planet Zoo. This is the entrance that we built last episode. We are going to quickly go through the members area, because why not? You can see not much has changed. Here, let me play the game real quick. Okay, there we go. You can see not much has changed since we built the entrance. I still have not done the gift shop. That is my bad. But we are going to go look at some American Flamingos. I will have to say that I personally, we're going to go this way first, have been waiting for these guys for so long. For me, this was the last animal that I wanted in the game that would kind of complete my ultimate animal roster, basically. You can see in the background here, which I absolutely love the color of this. this was built by Nausicaa. I will make sure to leave the link to this and any other blueprints used either in this build or Prehistoric Kingdom down in the description below. I think I only use one blueprint in Prehistoric Kingdom, and I think I used this one and maybe one other one. Yeah, I used one more inside of the building, which you'll see, or two more inside the building, which you'll see those in just a second and understand why. But we have these beautiful American flamingos. Well, technically four, because these nests are blueprints as well. And again, I will leave the link to these in the I will leave the link to the collection for these blueprints in the description below. I should correct myself. You can kind of see inside the building right here. If I just go down real quick, you can kind of see inside the building. For this build, I used the glass panel pieces, which I'll show you those in a second, but I used those pieces because they gave that sort of like not fully see-through basically glass look, which is what I was going for. And I love how when you first walk up, you don't really notice these statues, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted something over there, and you can see the flamingos here. This is the other rock hangout thing that I was talking about in the speed build that the flamingos actually go up and use. But this, I needed something over here, which you'll see as we head over that way in just a second, that I needed something there just to kind of break up the sight line, because this was such an open area that I could not, and I did not like how open this was right here. I wanted it to have something in there that you could look at. And so we do have a vista point right here. I couldn't figure out exactly how I would want to hide this, so I figured it was okay, just recolored it a little bit to make it kind of blend in a little bit. But if guests were actually in this dude, they would stop right here and look. I think this pot, I think is what they would actually look at. But this is amazing. So make sure to go and check this out. It's absolutely amazing. And then we're going to go into the building here. And again, over here, we will have episode 3 for this series, which will be used seeing out of this viewing window right here. But really quickly, isn't this amazing? This, I forget who this was made by, but I got this off of the workshop as well. And again, the link to this will be down below. But these are singular one tile mosaic pieces, just recolored to look like flamingos. This is I think this is actually a 4x6 meters, what this was technically, or yeah, I think that's how, 4x6. 4 wide and 6 tall is how it was technically, but I just kind of cut off the bottom 4 meters and only used like 2.5, I think. Something like that. But you can see we have so many flamingos in here. These American flamingos need a group of 20 to be happy. And we do have the like overcrowding and stuff on, because I wanted it to be as realistic as possible when building these habitats. So we do have this game and its lighting is, I hate the lighting in this game. So I did sink some spotlights into the ground, so that's why the lighting in the building is a bit weird, and I am sorry for that. But these lights themselves were not doing anything, and neither were the skylights that I added to the roof. But here you can see where I've changed the tiling inside of and I absolutely love the way this tiling works. I think it's much more modern and it looks so much better. And then here I made this little, supposed to be like a rolling door where the guests or the staff can come and push it down or push it up, either however they want it. And this is just made out of singular, the new LED tubes, I think is what they are. Festival LED strips that we got with the new pack, I think. I don't know. And then these are the Fiesta Ranchscape hook fixtures that I use for that. But I did add a little bit of what was supposed to be like a fence or a barrier for the flamingos. That way they wouldn't like, because of their legs are so long and lanky, I didn't want them to like trip and fall in the pool like how that one just did that. I was hoping this would kind of prevent it, but I think it actually makes it worse. But realistically, I think this would help. I don't know. You can let me know down below if you know more about flamingos than I do. Here we have the same sort of gate that I made over there to kind of block off the pool area if the staff were cleaning it or whatnot. This is the same gate on both sides with a door, and this is only staff path right here. So even if guests were in this zoo, they would not be able to go right here, because if we delete this, you can see we have restrooms here and on the other side of this wall, and that is only staff path. And I absolutely love how this view looks. It just, the colors, the pinks, the blues, I think it complements the flamingos so well. It looks so good, and I am so happy with that. And I don't know what's going on there. I think they're playing with that disco ball. But over here, we have a bit of education. So I wanted to, with this zoo, I used to really enjoy making these education boards. I just never wanted to take the time to do them because they are kind of tedious. But with this one, I actually wanted to make an education board. And we do have another one in the Coelophysis habitat as well, which you will see in a little bit once we get over there. But this is supposed to be like the different parts of the flamingo: the beak, its legs, and its tail feathers or wing feathers or whatever. And then this are like maybe different plants you would find in its habitat or whatnot. Just another little plant leaf fact and some random facts and stuff what those could be. And over here we have, these are supposed to be flamingo skeletons. So we have a keeper talk. I actually like, because of the way that I have this set up, I actually really like how this looks right here. It looks as if this were to be maybe a speaker that constantly talked about these skeletons or whatnot, but this is an actual keeper talk. So again, if and when guests are allowed in this zoo, keepers can come here, guests would crowd and could look at these skeletons and learn about the flamingos and whatnot. We do have a security camera up there because these are technically not supposed to be touched, being blocked off using this rope and whatnot. And then here you can see into the habitat from indoors, which I really love how this little arch came out. I originally recorded me building this, but I left it out because I felt the video would be too long with the tours and this added in, even though it would have only added maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I just felt like it might have been a little bit too long. Because the video as it stands without the live tours is 19.5 minutes, I think, or something like that. And then with the live tours, it'll be probably 25-30 minutes or so. But here you can see the view of the nesting island and a mirror mobile, which I don't really know if they use this a whole lot. But we will do a quick overview of the entire flamingo habitat. You can see the entirety. So it's kind of like this oval shape, sort of oblong, rectangular, oval shape. The building's pretty interesting shape. I do have plans to make this whole area a backstage, because when this animal is added in, it will kind of fill out this area over here. And then this will be a backstage for both the flamingos and this animal over here. But anyways, let's get over into Prehistoric Kingdom. Okay, we are now in Prehistoric Kingdom. Again, going through the members only entrance real quick. And we can now see the Coelophysis. So again, the exact same habitat layout that we did for the flamingos, which again, I will do an overview of what this habitat looks like as a whole. You can see I have not completely finished the border for this glass barrier. It's just the plain wall glass barrier. I need to go in and kind of polish this up, make it look a little bit more pretty. But you can see we do have a small watering hole here for them. And it frustrates me so much that we still cannot see the bottom of the rocks or any piece once it's sunk under the water. I don't know why they changed this, but I want them to change it back to, because I remember, I think it was still in either alpha or beta, maybe even, when you could sink things like plaster and rocks and stuff under the water and see them from under the water. And I want that back so bad, because looking at this, it just looks stupid. But that's my rant about that. Let's go and actually look at the habitat now. So we do have this large rock wall that I, again, will kind of try to make look a bit prettier. And I want to add some sort of Coelophysis statue here, maybe, because this building is technically more for the Coelophysis than it will be for the other dinosaur that we have on this side. I just haven't found one off the workshop, because I'm sure not building one. Not a skeleton. No, I do not have the patience nor the ability to build that. So we're just not doing it. You can see this backstage is very, very boring. Again, I was a bit rushed in finishing this today or yesterday, and just kind of was done building. I was burnt out. I wanted a break, but I needed to get it done. So I just kind of threw some walls up, threw it together. Not exactly what I would love, but by next episode, this will be 100% completed. You can see we have a very similar wall structure to the flamingo, with the corrugated metal at the bottom and tile or stone masonry at the top portion. I have not added in a door yet because, again, rushed on time. I did, however, add glass for this barrier instead of chain link, because I figured that was a much safer option than chain link. Even though Coelophysis aren't technically they are omnivores, but they eat insects, not like humans and stuff. So I don't know that they would be much of a threat, but I still imagine that they could be a big threat, because they do have the sharp teeth and they do eat meat. So this is glass to protect the guests and everything, and that Coelophysis is like glitching out or something. It's going crazy and it's driving me crazy. But you can see we have a little planter, not the best, not the worst. Again, it's very boring in here because I want to use this wall texture that I use in the Coelophysis exhibit and kind of put in certain spots around here, but I also want this to be like educational stuff for the guests and everything for that habitat, and then over here education for the Coelophysis, obviously. Same planter there. Moving over here, we have this huge Coelophysis mosaic that, again, I got it off the workshop. It will be linked down below, along with this. Now this, I kind of edited it a little bit. So the skeleton is the exact same as it came off the workshop. There is a rock underneath this that came with it, but I added the frame, the light, all that other stuff. So the link to the skeleton and its rock will be down below as well. You can see a nice little view of the habitat from here, which I am very happy with this because this habitat was so large. Well, I won't say large. It was very wide, I would say, and very long. I definitely wanted to break up the sight lines, and I think I did a great job with the terrain work and everything in breaking that up. And over here, we have this just little rock area. You can see a Coelophysis right there in the water, and I love that. Just a nice little rock area. Staff entrance gate right there. The Coelophysis don't go over here for any reason. I would like eventually, if and when we get more enrichment items for the Coelophysis and stuff like that, we will may add something and they can kind of climb on these rocks and stuff and whatnot. Add some hot wire up there to act as if they can't get out or whatnot. And then here we just have a nice little sign to, it's just how do you measure up to the Coelophysis with a average human height in meters is about 1.7 meters or 5.5 to 6 feet tall. And Coelophysis are about 3 meters long from head to tail and about a meter high or so. So you can kind of figure out how tall you are and compare that to the Coelophysis. And then here for these gates, I just use the, oh, I didn't realize we could open these. That's awesome. I just use the staff gates so we can go in and out. And then I guess they close automatically too. Yep, that's awesome. This is my first time really using this explore tool in this game. But that is pretty much all for the Coelophysis. We do have one melanistic, or albino, sorry, right here. I really love the melanistic versions, I believe, of these dinosaurs. I want to, when the next update, I think update 15 comes out, I want to make sure that the, oh, we can get a great view of them eating their termites right now. I want to get some melanistic guys in here is what I want to try and do. But we will go to a quick overview and that will be it for this video, guys. So again, exact same shape. This one is a bit more rounded, as you can see, because the way that these barriers work, it's a bit easier to do curved barriers in this game, I feel, than in Planet Zoo. So I did make this one a bit more round, but it is relatively the exact same. Obviously, it can't be the exact 100% replica because it is in 2 games, and the only way for it to be the exact is if I did it in one and then put it into like a big billboard and painted it with terrain paint on the other one, and that is just way too much work, and I am not doing that. But still have some detailing to do on the roof. A bit more detailing with the terrain paint. The terrain paint in this game is a bit tricky because it's more naturalistic in the way that the textures mix and everything. But that's really it, and that's really all I have for y'all this week. Again, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you enjoyed the tours. If there's anything you would like to see more in these tours, let me know. If you want me to show more detail, less detail, anything like that, let me know that down below. If you enjoyed the video overall and if you stayed till the end, thank you, thank you, thank you. That truly means a lot to those of you who watch my videos all the way through. I am greatly appreciative of each and every one of you who do watch my videos in any way, shape, or form. But anyways, that's all I have for y'all this week. Please make sure to leave a like, a subscribe, comment which habitat you think won in this showdown. Let me know that down below if you prefer the Coelophysis or the Flamingo. Personally, I think I prefer the Flamingo, mainly for the backstage. But I will talk to you on the next one. Bye, guys.